Good afternoon, everyone. It's been pleasure and privilege to have you all here. I can see so many people joining. So let me first warmly welcome Udana and Nasela. Let me give you a brief introduction to Udana and Nasela. Udana is currently the Director of Innovations at Sri Lanka Tourism, one of the foremost experts in the country for travel and hospitality technologies. He has done some really good work, some impactful work for government. So it's a pleasure to have you here, Udana. Then Asela Vidyalankara is one of the foremost thought leaders currently on the country. Whenever the topic comes about digital transformation, Asela is the one of the foremost thought leaders that people will come and reach and get the feedback on. So it's absolute pleasure and privilege to have you here also, Asela.
Thank you.
So today's topic is a fairly interesting one. So we wanted to have an understanding with these two industry leading experts on how can the small hotels or the hospitality service providers in a smaller manner can compete with the large hotel chains, right? I think this is fairly a timely conversation because I heard yesterday about Sri Lanka is expecting 3 million tourists, which is huge number and very inspiring number. We all want to see that 3 million coming to Sri Lanka and facilitate it. If you grow the business or if you grow the tourism industry from 2 million, which is current number, to 3 million, that means there is a whole lot of new opportunities for the smaller service providers, right? So we are looking at a horizon of new opportunities. So let's dive deep on to understand how the hotel owners or the smaller and medium hotel owners can compete with the larger chains. This is a I think age driven question, how the smaller retailers can compete with large competitors. So let me start with like this. So I will moderate this conversation as a consumer of the hotel and hospitality industry services, as well as potentially I always have the interest of investing on a small and medium sized hotel, about 10 to 50, maybe even 50 hotel room. But here's my main question. Now, whenever you go to a hotel, you can always see a larger players. So the scenario that I want to start is I also wanted to know this response. So when you are a hotel owner, let's say small and medium hotel owner, who operates a hotel in a nice area, a beach area, where tourists and the travelers would love to come in, and you have a bigger hotel chain either trying to start the business there or it is already operating, right? And this guy, probably this hotel chain can have the better technology, so their operations can be more efficient, their reach can be higher. They might have that online facilities, digital transformation journey where the travelers or the guests have the better experience. But the thing is, even with these old facilities they are offering, the small hotel owner also have to survive, right? Also have to compete, right? So, how did you do it? And now, what is the current advices from the panel to compete? Consider myself as a small hotel. So I have a large hotel all around me, right? But I still want to compete. I want to compete and win. So how should I do it? So we start with Udana. Yes.
So Tarinder, thank you for having me. Basically, if you look at the current stats in Sri Lanka, we have about 4,000. There are two sectors mainly when it comes to accommodation: formal and informal sector. So formal sector ones are who are registered with the Sri Lanka Tourism, and also informal sector not registered but operating, but they should register because it's a mandatory requirement, it's not a voluntary requirement to register with the regulator. And we have roughly about 55,000 rooms and about 4,300 establishments registered. Then with all these OTAs, we have many others. So when you are comparing, and also 50-50 split into, if you look at the room count, 50% comes from the small and medium sector and 50% comes from large hotel chains. So when you look at these large players and small players, there are different factors related to the travelers who are going to and patronizing these locations. The business and certain types of travelers go to large hotels. But when you look at SME, you have these new age travelers who wants a different level of experience go into this. So in the SME sector has in terms of not tech, but generally has this personal touch when it comes to managing travelers. So obviously there is a difference between these two accommodation sectors. Other thing is when you are looking at earlier, if you look at many years ago, if a small hotel could not afford a property management system or any other technology player because they were expensive to implement, maintain. But today, with the cloud technologies and subscription-based SaaS products, you can actually deploy these types of solutions easily. So when it comes to competition also, these smaller PMSs or smaller products also have most of the features that you need to manage guest experience. So it's a matter of implementation and knowing that your business runs on this tech. Because a lot of, if you look at Sri Lankan companies generally, technology is an afterthought. So, what they should do is, from the initial standpoint, they should look at the technology investment, same as investing in buildings and all the other facilities. So, therefore, there is an opportunity to compete and give a better experience using technology, using cloud solutions.
Thank you, Dan. I think that's a fantastic understanding about the industry itself. So before coming to Asela, so what Dan mentioned is to win against these larger players, so you have to create a personalized experience. And the edge that larger players have is a technology, because they create their process more efficient, more cheaper, more faster, and maybe serving cost per guest is maybe less than any other player. So this is their trick, right? So they could do this because due to technology. I know the technology. I understand technology is becoming more affordable each day. So you are in the view that even the smaller players now have that technology in an affordable way. Right, fantastic. What is Asaila's thoughts on that? Same question.
First of all, thank you for having me. Really appreciate being here and the kind introduction you gave. I'm going to echo some of the points that I made, but I'm going to say something a little different. One is I disagree that smaller players are at the disadvantage. I think they are the advantage, honestly. It's bigger players that are a little slow to react, less agile. And you spoke about big fish and small fish. I would flip the script and say it's fast fish and slow fish. So it's who is more adaptive, who is more agile, and who is more customer-centric at the end of the day is the one who will win. Because we have seen small properties do well, and small properties which have a niche sometimes do extraordinarily well. More than their turnover might be more than a large 300, 400 room property, which probably they'll earn in a day. Yeah. So the whole point is, as a developer, as a person running an establishment, and I would look at it from that point of view, and this is where I agree with the gentleman here, technology is no longer an afterthought. Technology is part and parcel. It should be in your DNA, and it should be baked into your products and services and the experience you provide to the customer. Because if you don't do that, more or less, because technology is becoming more democratized, technology is becoming more accessible to people, you will lose the trade. So it doesn't matter what your size is. What matters is how good you are at adapting. And I take that view. So it doesn't matter for me if you're big or small. It's how fast you are to adapt. And that's the point of view that I wanted to take, because technology is cheap, technology is adaptable. And if you look at establishment, sometimes It's about looking at long and hard. Have we made the right capital investments? And I'll get a little more into it as we go along in the conversation, but I think we reflect on, sometimes we pay more for other stuff which we can invest in technology and actually give you a competitive advantage. So that's the way of looking at it.
I think solid thoughts. I think it's a kind of a now putting the hats of a small business owner, right? Can be hotel. Now we tend to be, let's say, if there is something we can do manually on our own, or first impression is not to pay for it for anyone else. Right? So if I have a firm, if I can do accounting myself rather than subscription for accounting services and pay $10, my first instance is save that, because we small business owners know how hard it is to earn a dollar. So saving a dollar is same as earning a dollar. So it's very hard. So the first impression from the small business owners' point of view, it's not same to small hotel owners, is to save as much as you can. So it's having a PMS versus manually inputting a data. Maybe sometimes they might feel, okay, it's just getting a customer's data. I will do it manually rather than paying a certain amount to a third party. If the third party or if the service provider can offer it to a reasonable amount, then that's a different conversation. But maybe the technology that as per their understanding is so expensive, they feel it's not worthwhile. They create a value using personalized experience rather than. So that's the one. I think the other thing is I'm sure when you go to technology, it's as they say the fear is what they say is fear is mile long, inch deep. Right? That's a fear of getting into new things or spending. It's a mile long, inch deep. That means before you get into it, you see like a vast ocean. But once you step in onto it, you get wet, but you survive. It's just inch. You can walk it. Right? So that's a perspective that's coming from the small business owners. So now let's say the other part is, how do I measure this transformation, right? What is the point that I have to understand where I need to get a PMS, or whether I keep entertaining people from my personal experience? All about money. What is the current Sri Lankan experience with you done on that? How it was we've been working with a lot of hotel owners. How is it currently we are doing on that hotel owners?
If you look at the last 10 years, things have improved because if you are the like he said, you have to bake technology into the whole business operations. So when you start a hotel, when you have a property management system from the day one, you bring not just the software, it's the processes that you bring in from well-established other companies. So your staff get trained, your staff will work around the system. If you look at from the front office to F&B to various other areas. So therefore, it's important that you invest in technology from day one. It's not just you start it and later on adopt technology, right? Because it will be difficult unless you are a very small homestay or a bungalow. But still, there are small solutions now that you can operate with your phone, the basic capabilities. So it's important to have that from day one, right? So the industry has understood this now, and they have about 10 years ago, this was not the case, right? And also, other thing is, if you look at a hotel, there are two main areas where technology investments. One is customer experience, other one is back office operations. So customer experience also, there are 3 stages: pre-arrival, during, and once you leave, right? So then you invest in apps and portals, booking portals. Then once you come in, room entertainment, the concierge services, things like that. The reviews, how you use customer feedback to improve the hotel. There are different areas that you can use technology. So today, because of these subscription-based SaaS products, you are able to get these solutions for a smaller player when you compare 10, 20 years ago, where it would be prohibitive for a small player to acquire these technologies.
So you are basically saying you can there is a facilitation to offer a same kind of a technology to a guest. Even if you are a small service provider, you can offer the same kind of a technology services as a large team. Right? So there are options at current. Now, to coming back to Asela, now what would be the impact on this? Let's say the question is, okay, your potential market now you can say from the general understanding, the more you go into this segment, the younger crowd would be the people who's traveling. So they are coming up with a experience on techno experience, right? So is that going to be impactful? That means whether it is cheaper to do it than not.
Okay, the way I look at it is, I'm going to pick up a couple of things you said. One is that we are expecting 3 million guests. And I guarantee you most of them, and I think the numbers support that, are Gen Z and a little more older guests who are, their experience, travel experience is very different than it was about 10 years ago, 15 years ago. How they travel is different. And now one of the key buzzwords, and this was spoken about even in the recent World Economic Forum meeting, is hyper-personalization. That's one of the buzzwords that's going to happen. You can't offer that level of service if you don't have, for example, a PMS plan. No matter how good your, let's say, your property is, or how good your staff is, how good the human elements are, because as the gentleman very correctly said, the experience starts online, in cyber space. When you start booking, when you start perusing a place, that's where you're in a safe, similar playing field. There is no difference between you and a big player. Because the deciding factor, or the critical factor is, how much does it appeal to those travelers? Maybe of a certain country, maybe of a certain geography, maybe of a certain preference. That is how you attract those guests, because that 3 million pie is probably 3 million this year. It's going to grow year on year. That's the trend we have seen since, I believe, 2023 onwards, it's been growing. So probably this will be the best year that we'll have after 2018, the best year for arrivals in the country. So that being said, the pie keeps getting bigger. Now it's about attracting the guests you want. And that is where stuff like hyper-personalization come in. That's where they're not looking for value also. There's a misconception that guests are price sensitive. I would disagree. They're value sensitive. So they may spend X, but as a small property, listen, you're closer to the community as a small property. If you're a 10-room property, 15-room property, your advantage is you're incredibly close to the community. It's a flat organization structure. You are able to provide a hyper-personalized experience for these guys, the tourists that are coming in. Perhaps given the area that you are in, perhaps given the locality that you have better access to the local cuisine. You have better access to maybe some of the hiking trails and all of that because of the community that you have built around your property. The value of that comes in with certain things like PMSs, because that hyper-personalization is then your value proposition. So it's no longer about squeezing the dollar out of somebody. It's no longer about making sure they get the best room rate. So I think that mindset shift needs to happen. Especially, we are looking at a booming industry. I no longer call this, just an industry that keeps going. It's a booming industry. This is one of the thrust sectors for our economic recovery. It's incredibly important that we think different in how we approach this and how we approach the tourism experience of the guest. I think that's the way you should look at it.
I think fantastic. I think both of you brought a conversation for a very interesting point. So I think both of you are well traveled. I think you have many experience on traveling to other countries and experiencing their guest experience or facilitating their services. So explain to me, let's say there are a lot of small business owners also, hotel owners also join. What is this experience as a travel industry expert that Asel mentioned this hyper personalization experience? What is that experience in simple terms? What step by step, how should we make the guest feel that experience where we compete with a larger hotel chain who might have doing the same for cheap? What is that experience?
So, as I mentioned, Harinder, now there are three stages. So, if you look at any tech product or any technology, you have to start with the customer and work backwards. So, if you look at Uber, now Uber is a very traditional business, taxi business we've been doing for hundreds of years. But Uber came and changed it because they started with the customer and went backwards, right? Or any other technology that you see today, good technologies. Because actually there are certain principles that will never change. Customers want cheap, value, I won't say cheap, value. Customers want efficiency, right? And customers always want that delivered in a personalized way. Right? So then only, now if you look at, for example, Uber, the amount of data about my habits, where I stay, where I take cabs, where I normally go, what do I eat normally. Right? All of that information is there. So personalization can be done. Especially personalization can be done for if you have a hotel chain, right? Even small hotel. For example, I checked into one hotel and I have certain preferences. My preference is vegan, all of that. When I go to the same hotel chain in another hotel, they would know. I mean, of course, now you don't order papers, but if I order a paper, they would know this is the paper they don't have to ask that. So you can personalize. Also, other thing is you can even go to the next level, where when you have loyalty schemes, you can have image recognition, kind of, or face recognition. When they walk in, they will welcome, hello, Mr. Arindar, welcome to the hotel. And you have never visited that hotel before. So just imagine you go to a totally a strange place, a different country, but to Hilton or some other player, and you can get that experience. So you can build this hyper personalization into the experience.
How does small player do?
So you can use the same technology, as I mentioned. These technologies are getting cheaper by the day. You have new AI and Gen AI products also coming in related to these areas. So where we can do, for example, I can chat with a chatbot and I can name my price. Hotel can look at the yield management and decide whether I'll be offered. Right. So that price you will not get for another customer. Right. So you can do these type of things quite easily without spending a lot of money. Because if you look at the foundational models and the foundational technologies have evolved. Earlier, you had to build all these things. Today, on AWS and all these foundational models, like if you look at Gen AI products, they are getting advanced by the day. And you can build relatively cheaper and give accessibility for a small place. And they can make, and just imagine you look at reviews of the hotels. If you import all the reviews into your AI model and ask the action plan to mitigate the issues. Now normally we reply and say thank you for the review, but we don't action based on the review. You can build a lot of things where if you really use the tech and you don't have to spend a lot of money.
I think that's really interesting point. So I really like that personalized negotiation.
Yeah.
Right. So basically I can negotiate with a hotel through web or mobile. This can be a small hotel who might have 20 or 5 rooms, and the system knows for day that I'm looking at there are 4 empty rooms, so he can make me offer, so I can negotiate rather than not having a room occupied at all for a fair price. That's a good deal.
But also don't forget, and this is where technology augments service and value. You may be having that conversation in the person's local language.
Yeah.
He may be speaking Mandarin, he may be speaking Spanish. The conversation by the chatbot could be in that local language. It's not even in English.
Right.
See,
So you take out the language barrier also.
it takes out the language, it brings a lot of value into your operations. Now, you made a point, and to counter to yours, that you made a point saying there are always small business owners are trying to stretch wherever they can. I don't think you can hire a Spanish translator to answer your calls. But with investing in this technology, suddenly you have a chatbot that speaks 100 languages. Because that's the transformation you get, and that money, that value, that amplifying effect is just given by a small investment.
So suddenly music is not the only universal language, right?
100%. So, and to add to his point, and I think that's important, the value of data in personalization. Because you will not accrue that kind of data. Yes, you may feel, let me maintain the reservations in an Excel. Let me maintain, some of these things in a Word file, whatever. But you won't get that level of analytics and data maybe a PMS gives you. Because then suddenly you can start forecasting. You start seeing patterns. And on top of that, of course, you put a Gen AI product or something, again, very cheap now. It's not expensive. Suddenly you're getting insights that are high quality insights, perhaps the same big hotel chains are getting. At a fraction of the cost.
So
Fraction of the cost. So then think of that. Think of the reports you get. You pay, okay, ChatGPT, that's $20. Forget everything else, 3,000 rupees a month. You run it through ChatGPT, you will suddenly get insights which are top of the line. A business consultant will give you that insight, but you're getting that free. This is the change that you need to look at.
So I think it does open a completely new market also. I think you know this much better than me. Our tourists is from a certain countries, right? So we can open up our market for a completely different set of countries who might have a different local language, right? So you can start communicating with that language itself while you being a very small hotel. And through a digital marketing, you can do your marketing and get your inquiry. Then after that, your AI takes over on their local language. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Thank you for that thoughts. That's really, really interesting. What else you can do? I think we are in a very...
One more thing, if you don't mind, sir. One thing is, again, that's why I said I will touch on this later. For example, now the guests coming in, they bring their own entertainment. Gone are the days that you need to have cable TV and you need to invest in that. So perhaps that's a capex and an opex you can get rid of and maybe focus on a different thing, on making sure that, let's say, there's proper broadband internet connectivity in the room. Secondly, there are cheaper IoT devices. To his point, as you walk in, if a smart speaker greets you in your local language, that's hyper-personalization, saying, hola, somebody. Then the lightings, listen, smart lighting is not astronomically expensive now as an IoT device. You plug those things in, suddenly that level of hyper-personalization that we spoke about, because you have the data now. You've extracted the data with stuff like the PMS. You know the guest that's coming. You know their preferences. Perhaps when he walks in, there's a juice that you know that's his favorite juice. Because maybe you have perused his social media profile, you have seen something. You never know. These finer points, I don't think a big chain can match, even with the analytics and the investments they have made. Because that's the touch you're bringing in as a small player.
And to add to that, I think people are very emotional. So if someone can greet me on my preferred drink, on my preferred language, I would mind the price conversation would suddenly not be as relevant as now, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that is completely. And if you can do this, being a small hotel provider, look, now you have the technology and you have that personal touch because you get to talk to hotel owner is also a big thing. So you don't get in the large hotel chains. You don't get to so that is something really interesting. The other thing I want to point out is to echo the same conversation. Now I've been to Japan few times. When Japan hotels are really small. Right? First time I was okay. I was CEO of the company at that time, so I wanted to have that bigger room, more comfortable. So I was asking my Japanese counterpart. He said, "So you have you basically you can eat. You have the bathroom. You can sleep. That's it on the room." So his feedback was, "You go out. You come to room to just sleep, right?" So your other stuff, your room is also managed through a tab. I've been recently about 4 5 months back. I wanted to get away for a vacation. So I booked a hotel. I couldn't remember the name. The Bentota Silo Villa or something like that. So I booked through a website, really neat, interesting website. Really, it's really good. I have that virtual tour, something like that. So I booked it. I went there, and also the menu is on the tab. Yeah, whatever I wanted the menu, I just like a large hotel, you get your tablet and I can book it. And had a really good time. And when I was leaving, I had a chat with the hotel owner. His conversation was he was telling me next time you come. You don't have to bring. You don't have to come here and register yourself. You go to my online site, upload your what is your passport and whatever the relevant data to do the KYC, and you come and show your QR here. That's it. You can straight away go to home. That sort of places are there. This is a place of Bentota. So really interesting. Its technology is more or less the kind of a fear factor or the less or more fear factor that the owner also have. Right? That's I felt that's also a part of, right? So how is your experience on small hotels on Sri Lanka currently? How is the technology usage or what is actual situation currently?
Yeah, so I think if you look at, unless it's a very small establishment, most of them have some kind of property management system, right? To manage bookings. At least they have channel managers to ensure multiple channels are correctly booked, no duplication of bookings, those sort of things are there. But of course, what we can do as technologies is to build like a health check, IT health check. If you take a check, a kind of a checklist, what are the areas that should be covered by a SME as a, in terms of technology, right? Whether these areas are covered, and it should be not technology per se, because I always say there are no technology projects. These are all business projects, right? Enabled through technology. So therefore, the real business value of these things should be communicated to the business owners. Then only they will, of course, they are, as you said, people are cash strapped and cash flow issues are there. But you should find ways to help these businesses to come on to platforms. And then once they thrive, then now if you look at what the example you gave, now that's a extremely well implemented technology in a small hotel.
It's
This
a
can be
kind of a so it's not about investing on IT system, right? It's about investing on getting a better bottom line,
yeah.
right? Because I wouldn't invest if someone tells me to buy a software. I wouldn't. If someone tells me if you're buying this, you can save this much of a time. So you can save 100 rupees and my cost is 10 rupees. Fair enough conversation. To earn 90 rupees, I would buy it.
Yeah.
Right? But someone asked me to spend 10 rupees, I would not. So that's a part of a technology service provider's conversation also, right? Because they also need to pitch this, and maybe the industry bodies also need to pitch this, because this is a kind of a national importance. As you said, the future is this tech generation, right? That's number one. more and more tech gen people is going to come on. Out of 3 million, they can be a substantial percentage. And the second is when you're growing from 2 million to 3 million, rather than appealing the same market, a new market. That's also, what are your thoughts on that? Both of you.
Yeah. When you look at, I want to add something to what you said, because if you look at the World Economic Forum, the competitiveness in terms of travel and tourism or a destination, there are three layers: national level technologies, industry level technologies, enterprise technologies. So if you look at national level technologies like destination management systems deployed by tourist boards, then OTAs at the industry level, and then you have individual property management to operation systems. But they are also linked to, because you have various solutions now. If you look at a OTA, the either the what you call allocations are connected to the OTA or live inventory is there in certain hotels. So like that, these important factors should be there to compete with other destinations. So technology, like I said earlier, not only for enterprises, for destinations also, technology should not be an afterthought, because if you look at, otherwise you can't compete as a destination. Right? And the other thing is, now we have done some work in the past. In 2018, we had a platform where it was called Travel Inquiry Management Platform, where we generated travel leads to travel agents in Sri Lanka.
Wow.
So what we did was, we used Google's performance marketing team in Singapore to market to professionals, using Google display networks, target them, and also affluent areas in destinations. Now, for example, not East London, but West London in UK. So you don't target the entire country. And also certain segments, right? Hedge fund managers, like that. So you can target certain people based on their performance, based on their profiles, and target them. Because in Sri Lanka, if you want to really, because now people want to escape the concrete jungles in the Europe. And that's why people like to come to these countries, because they want to stay in these types of countries, and you have digital nomads and all these people. Right? So therefore, these type of people are natively in tech. So their entire life is around technology, apps, and products. So therefore, these type of people can be easily captured if you invest in technology at the national level as well as at the enterprise level.
I'm just going to reflect a little bit. I feel one of the ways that we can improve, and I'm sure Dan has different ideas on this, is more bang for our buck. And a great example of this, if you take Sri Lanka, they welcomed 2 million tourists last year. Maldives also welcomed 2 million tourists last year. But if you see the dollar income Maldives earn, it's several times higher than ours.
Yes.
So simply, that tells me, yes, it's nice to have the 3 million tourists. It's fantastic. And we have to make sure we keep striving for higher figures. But also, we have to make sure we get the right spending tourists. And to attract the right spending tourists, we attract the niche, like this gentleman very correct, the fund managers, the high-end, top-tier, high-spending tourists. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's about $100 a day average tourist spend in Sri Lanka.
No, it's about now 181.
Okay, so I'm
That
sorry.
is average.
That's average spend. Probably you need to double that. Because, this is the kind of bespokeness that we need to offer. And things like being bespoke. I'm not going to touch on all of that because that was an incredibly insightful answer. But the only thing I want to add to it is that how we look at this problem. Because this is a trust sector. This is a sector that will get us out of trouble in terms of economically for this country. Therefore, we need to make sure that we get more bang for our buck. When the investments we made, the people we help, and we get the right tourists. And when I mean right tourists, the medium to high spending tourists. That's where I am coming from.
I think that's a really interesting point. let me bring out another angle on this. Let's say if we can bring out these high spending tourists, who are these high spending profiles, as Udana said, maybe entrepreneurs, venture capitalists, business owners, right? So one, if they come here, people normally get a look and feel from their visit. They see the country, they see the advancement, and next thing is not about their travel destination; it's about investment also, right? Regardless of how much you pitch to a person who have not been here, the Sri Lanka or port city, versus a person who high net worth, who have more than 100 million maybe on his profile or asset, who might want to invest a 1 million on starting a small business or hotel. Seeing is more believing than hearing. So that's a one other a line that we can connect the dots to the direct economic impact as well, right? So tourists, high net worth people comes, facilitate, enjoy their vacation, then brings their investment, foreign direct investment. Is that also the thinking line of thinking that goes around the policymakers currently, or?
Yeah, so obviously, because if you look at now, when you look at these high-end travelers, so we need to map certain products to them. For example, golf, certain things that the activities that they will engage, and so we need to build more experiences like that for them to be now. If otherwise you can bring money, but where are you going to spend money?
You have
Yeah, you're not going to not going to buy gems and other things, right? So you have to build some experience because I think when it comes to tourism planning, the most important thing is to build these experiences around the different. If you want to bring those travelers from shopping to, that's what Singapore or Dubai has done, right? So that is the other area that we have to, because we have to, when they bring money, we have to retain them, right? Second thing, what you mentioned is about these investments and things like that. Actually, sometimes people come here. I have met a lot of people time to time where they have come first for maybe a business meeting. Then they come with their family, and some have even invested afterwards. So this whole experience is based on how you build that loyalty to the destination. And then people see the potential because a lot of people don't know. Even there's a big tech industry in Sri Lanka.
They don't.
They don't know. I have spoken to so many people when I'm out. They know about our tourism, but they don't know about tech industry. So they might come here as a traveler and discover the tech industry. Right? This is what we have to build.
So these might be the people who have day-to-day offices on 25th floor of Paris, New York, some high skyrise building. So for them, there's opportunity for small hotel owners, because they might not need, do not want to come and again experience on the highest floor of the room of a hotel.
Yeah.
They might want to stay a small place, experience that culture, experience the ground level realities that the culture or the country can offer. But the thing is, how do now small players to get connected to them, to reach them, to promote them? What are your advices to them? How do we reach? Let's say large hotel chains might have that reach. Hats off if they can bring those people to Sri Lanka. Everyone benefit. Hats off. But the smaller people, small and medium people, should always they should also able to reach them. What is your advice? Say anyone listening for a smaller and medium hotel owners who might have 10 hotels room or 50 hotel rooms to reach this stream of people, high net worth individuals who might spend $10,000 on that hotel. You said me there's a $15,000 per day, $15,000 villa is in currently there's a villa $15,000. That's about 4.4 million to 4.5 million. You serve him for a 1 day, 1 night, you have 4 million rupees, right? So how do we get this stream of people? How these small and medium hotel owners reach them? Technically wise, through technology as well, what is your advice? You two has been at least associating with these people now.
Yeah.
What is the appeal? How do we reach?
So one thing is you have to have the product ready. Now, I don't want to mention names in Sri Lanka, but there are certain hotels, certain groupies maintaining these hotels who are at that level. They don't have a lot of rooms, right? In Valikama, Yala, and the hill country.
These are small and medium.
Small and medium,
Yes.
but very high rates. They never come down on the rate because they have a very good product. And then you have these small luxury hotels. There are specialized channels and there are specialized fares and things like that. But you have to have the product ready. Now, when you come to a hotel like that, people expect certain level. Other thing is,
It's not just technology anymore.
No.
Right?
And also, other thing is, some of these people who have traveled up and down the market, they have gone to top hotels in the world. They don't want to come here and experience that.
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
That is their day-to-day life.
Yeah. And some actually, I've met people who are very rich, right? But they stay in homestays because they want to mingle with the locals. So there are people who look at certain level when they travel everywhere, and there are certain people who travel to destinations to experience local food, local authentic experience. So they not because of price sensitivity or anything like that, because they want that local experience.
So I'm a hotel owner, small hotel owner. I have about 20 room hotel. What are my next steps? So what is my immediate to dos to generate to reach this sort of a crowd? What should I do?
So one thing is you need to look at your reviews,
Right.
right? I think you have to. It's very important that you now if you are starting a new hotel. I would recommend that you go to OTAs. A lot of people think bad, they have a negative aspect related to OTAs because they take money and commissions and all that. But I think OTAs are very important for new hotels because as a discovery platform, because I might go to Agoda and find your hotel. I might not find your hotel directly.
That's right.
Right? And for 3 to 6 months, you operate at cost and get the reviews. Right? And then slowly elevate the pricing. Once you reach 9.5, things like that. Today, you don't buy anything. You buy even a car, camera, book a hotel, everything based on reviews. Google reviews. I always look at that. Right? So if you don't have your reviews, you can't even. So if you want to get into luxury, a lot of people think these boutique hotels are infrastructure. It's wrong. Boutique experience. Boutique hotels are not about heritage bungalows or nice looking properties. Concrete is not really important. What matters is the experience. If you have a butler service, personalized service till the end. I've been to smaller hotels. I've been to many hotels in Sri Lanka, but I've been to small hotels, exceptional service. I have written reviews for those hotels, right? Because I've been to top hotels, but you don't see that experience. I have even sometimes asked them why they have, because this is the problem. You don't really focus on that customer centricity, both from the product standpoint as well as from the technology. So if you have that product, then like certain brands in Sri Lanka, they can go to the small luxury channels and market. And you have to really position yourself. Positioning is the key, not just building a hotel.
So digital marketing also plays a key role here.
Yes. So obviously, you can target profiles.
Hmm.
Right? Because digital has a very powerful thing which you don't have in the traditional. You can do granular targeting. you
So
do
digital marketing is not just about maintaining presence on a Facebook, right?
No.
So I think that's a very important explanation. If you can elaborate more, because people think, okay, maintaining a profile in Facebook and putting some video to YouTube, maybe some TikTok or Instagram, and they getting their current revenue by doing that. Imagine if they do it properly. Imagine the impact of increase. What is your advice on what is digital marketing and how can digital marketing can help one?
So one thing is in terms of the digital has two areas. One is branding, other one is lead generation, right, or conversions. So conversion is tough for a small hotel to achieve because of the cost involved. So that's why you need OTAs. You invest in OTAs in terms of commissions, but they do the digital marketing. Because if you look at Booking.com and Agoda is owned by Priceline, they spend billions of dollars annually. Although you're maybe spending 20% of your commission as commission to convert the business into your hotel, right? And also, some of the top hotels I've come across, I don't want to mention again names, in Al, for example, right? They have direct bookings. They don't have OTA bookings. Now they have elevated to that level. People can't book through OTAs because they have built the brand, and people book. Some of them are like 150,000 rupees a night. Right? I'm sure you know the hotel I'm referring to. So if you look at their revenue channels, I think 5% is OTA. Not even 5%. You can't get the hotel through OTA now. Most of the time it's fully booked.
So those are the success cases.
I mean, incredibly insightful thing. Only thing I want to add is, just to your point, having an online presence, I think that's a misconception. Oh, we have a Facebook, we have an Instagram page.
It's like a
The
checkbox, yeah.
Seagrid doesn't have an Instagram page, does it? But it's world renowned, it's known. Why? The authentic content creators have come and generated enough content on that place. The train ride to Allah with the 9-arch bridge. 9-arch bridge doesn't have a Facebook page, no? But it's one of the world's leading attractions now. I mean, I'm not saying it, the world tourism magazines and publications are saying. So I think you have to understand, even in cyber, we are looking for authenticity, which is why where Sri Lanka is today, I'm not a travel industry expert, but as a consumer, I'll tell you where Sri Lanka is today is because of travel bloggers and Instagrammers and these travel influencers who have come to the country and really positioned us. And really taken that message of all these hardworking people to a different level. That's why, CEO from Silicon Valley now wants to visit Sri Lanka. Vogue magazine said Sri Lanka this summer is the hottest destination, especially the down south. No one did that. That was organically driven. So this is an incredibly powerful thing when you offer an authentic experience. And this is what a message I think the small hotel owners need to take to heart. Especially so many things this gentleman said, more than me. But authentic experience is what you need to give people. And that's what they're searching for globally, that authentic experience, because that's memorable for them. It's not the, $10,000 champagne, it's not that. Probably it's a night under the stars, but if you can facilitate that experience, wow, that then your destination will become and your establishment will become unique. That's something money can't buy. The rest will follow.
And you can, to add to that, you can build experiences around the hotel as well. I went to once, what they did was for lunch, of course you can't do it for mass level, they got us into jeeps, put the furniture, took us to a near waterfall, and had the lunch there.
It's some experience, yeah.
So that's the difference. So once you do those sort of things, automatically people will share, people can create content around it, and you don't have to do a lot of marketing because the experience.
Because for a foreigner, that's a $10,000 experience right there.
So you can have lunch next to a waterfall.
Natural water.
That's same as having a dinner in front of Eiffel Tower, right? Just seeing Eiffel Tower.
I think the traditional hotel sector in Sri Lanka was built around thinking that the hotel is the attraction in Sri Lanka.
It's not.
That was the problem. So this was the earlier in 1980s where German travelers came. They stayed long vacations in the same hotel and left. So
And they return next year also.
Yes. So this is the traditional thing, but that has changed long time ago. And now people are like this gentleman said, It's all about experience. Accommodation is a place, but you can build experience around your hotel, like I mentioned. So you can think of be creative, and the content of that will automatically sell the hotel and bring it to that level.
And maybe something we can also kind of a notice. Now, the earlier Sri Lanka tradition, there is some recurring travelers, right? Every December, the same set of travelers comes and stays in Ecuador, Germany, UK, right? With this new expansion market, we might not be able to expect that, right? Because the young ones might not want to come the second term also for the same country. They might go for that opens up the new doors. The people who are going for other countries might also want to visit us. What are your thoughts on that? Is that a trend or what? How should we take it?
Yeah, we have repeat travelers, but I would say now Sri Lanka can absorb a certain, there's a carrying capacity for Sri Lanka. We should not go to that level of Spain where the population has got fed up with tourism.
Yeah, there was a protest also. Yeah.
So therefore, we need to know what are the right levels that we have to maintain as a destination. Otherwise, it will destroy the experience. Right? Very experiences we are creating. So therefore, we need to. So these repeat travelers, respectively whether they come or not, the content related to tourism and the experiences we bring in travelers continuously. Unless we have some sort of a problem here, we will continuously have travelers coming here.
Yeah, I know a small hotel in Ecuador who's doing a referral program. They don't have a system. Someone visited this year, next year they give him a call and ask if someone else, friend or family member wants to come, a certain discount. Right? That might be something very interesting. Where if the hotel has a system to take in all the details and manage the database, regardless of the size of the hotel, they can use the same traveler either to travel back or get a reference for someone else to come there. That is also something that PMS does.
Yeah,
That's why your data is gold.
There is good.
You can build technology to enable that.
Fantastic conversation, gentlemen. Now we are closing to the end. Maybe to close out. So again, the whole focus being a small hotelier who wants to grow, who has a large hotel who's more efficient, cheaper, faster, about 1 kilometer away, offering the same beach, right? To summarize your takes, what is your advice to summarize?
Well, in terms of technology,
Yes.
You need to have, as I mentioned, kind of a gap analysis. What are the must-have technologies? One side is serving the customer or CX type of customer experience technologies, and also the back office operations. And also you need to, I mean, as a now if you look at, I think going forward, AI will play a major role in hotel sector, like any other.
I really love that idea of negotiating, looking at your occupancy, negotiating, and have the local language conversation. Those are things that small business owners can easily do, and opens up a huge new market.
Yeah.
And for you to do that, you need the technology stack.
Yes.
So you can't just plug AI.
Yes.
And also you look at 3 layers. One is basic level AI in terms of using simple things like ChatGPT to reply emails.
Which is $20, right?
Right.
It's not cheap.
Things like
It's
that.
not expensive.
Yeah. And then you have these voice bots connected to your reservation system where they can answer the phone, they can keep calls, that sort of level. Then you have decision support level where you have yield management kind of decisions can be done through Gen AI products. So these are the things, agentic platforms.
So actually, these are the very things that made large hotel chains more efficient because they could afford that technology.
Yeah.
Now, basically, anyone can afford that.
Afford.
If it is $20, right?
Yeah.
PMS is not very expensive, right? So you can virtually compete with any large hotel chain offering the same level of technology for cheaper.
And and also you have a problem of sometimes getting the human labor into hotels also. So especially back office operations, you can cut down up to 1/4 of the workforce, I mean, when they leave, I'm not saying to make them redundant. What I'm saying is, when they leave, you don't have to hire people and replace that function using technology.
Yeah.
So whether we like it or not, that will be the norm of the industry in the next 5 years.
So, okay. Before coming to sale, I think in a way we lived in the, we are actually fortunate generation on the human history. We are living in the best possible time when it comes to potential and opportunities. You have that right attitude and right mindset. You don't need to have anything else. Everything is possible through technology, right? Regardless of your background, regardless of how how much you have capital. And I like what Asela said. It's not about big fish versus small fish. It's about fast fish versus slow fish. So you have the technology to be faster and even beat the larger competition also. Yes, sir.
I think I'll follow your mind. Thanks. Just closing remarks, and I've learned a lot from this gentleman, honestly. But one thing I want to re-emphasize is the role technology is going to play in your organization is going to be changing the game for you. Put it very simply. So you are at a point now where you can no longer ignore technology and go ahead. Because rightfully, like you said, Gen AI is coming. AI has already, I mean, this is present tense, already changed the game for so many people. How you book things. You know, there was a great illustration very recently. Now you can, now all these big companies, Spirit and all that, their packages you can negotiate, and that's more likely a chatbot. You can get your chat GPT to negotiate it. So, essentially, that's one AI talking to another AI negotiating on your behalf. So this is now. This is January 2025. What's going to happen in December 2025? The technology is changing so fast. What's going to happen January 2026? It's going to completely be a tectonic shift in terms of how people interact with properties, how they book their travel. You know, I'm giving you a personal experience. I want to go for a certain destination. I've had a chat with my travel agent. He gave me itinerary just out of sheer curiosity. Sheer curiosity. I put the same request to ChatGPT. I've never seen that itinerary. That's a very customized, bespoke travel itinerary that was given to me.
It is fast and better.
Which was literally under a minute. This was 3 emails up and down. So it's a completely different experience that's coming. So you, on the flip side, if you're not warming up to these technologies, if you're not open to this, and listen, like this gentleman correctly said, your technology spend is not going to be thousands of dollars. It could be maximum $50 for the whole thing. For your Gen AI product, maybe like ChatGPT, for your PMS, for maybe other thing, everything can be $50 maximum. For that $50, you've got $50,000 worth of investments in IT, and giving you insight, giving you data, giving you analytics, giving and meeting and exceeding customer expectations in ways that you have never imagined. So that's the game changer you need to introduce to your organization, your property. And I guarantee you, as a technologist, I will tell you, not as a hospitality person, you will immediately see the changes.
Thank you, Asela. That's a very solid thought. I think we have 5 more minutes. Are we opening for questions from the audience? Or? Right. We are already about 10 minutes past. Right. Okay. Now, right. If you have any questions, I think we have your email addresses. We will email you the details and the recording of the panel discussion, so you can listen to this again. I can promise you, anyone who's not connected, this would be the worthwhile conversation to listen. Spend that 1 hour. If you're a small business owner, small hotel owner, I think both of these gentlemen have done some tremendous justice for the 1 hour, given some fantastic insights. So I really love that negotiation the, the review, because that's true, right? You only see the review and you don't act on it. So what happens if I put a review saying the service is not good of a certain hotel. 3 months down the line, they send me an email saying your review is really well reviewed, and we have taken action now. That issue has been sorted.
And you can see the
And
review again.
we look forward to welcoming you back.
We look forward to welcoming
And you
back.
can see a similar review again in about couple of weeks. Because there was no action on it.
Yes.
You
So
just say that.
those are I agree. Those are very finer points, but very impactful. Things you don't have to spend much to do, or a basic PMS, you can do this stuff. Right? So thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you for the 1 hour you have spent. I have learned a lot. I have really learned a really lot because I'm not the expert on this industry. I have learned a lot. I always wanted to have a small hotel. Started by those are my questions. So what happens if I have a neighbor, large hotel, whether they're going to crush me? I have to think out of the box, right? Whether it is worthwhile. Because it's about making money, no? If you're spending on something, investing on something, it's not about that thing. It's about how much of a return you can get. So why invest on a hotel if you can invest on something else and get a better return, right? So most of those questions have been answered. I'm sure the small and medium hotel owners also must have got some very solid answers. Thank you very much for your time. It's been pleasure and privilege to have you two gentlemen seated here and respond to all these clarifications. For audience, I think we would like to thank each and everyone who have joined. I know about 200 people have registered. What we are going to do is for all 200, we are going to send you an email with the details and the link of the session. So you can have the pleasure of watching this again. And if even your first time if you miss 1 or 2 points, you can always go back to there and refer. Thank you, everyone. Have a pleasant day. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Pleasure.